Welcome to a new video. In this video, Hans, Archie and myself are going to be shooting with the Nikon F, the F2 and the F3 in this beautiful old industrial building. And it is the NDSM wharf, a shipping wharf, just on the northern part of Amsterdam. So today we're here to shoot through a roll of TMAX 3200. And we all have a camera of choice. I'm going to be shooting with my Nikon F2, which I recently bought from Hans de Graaf at the Foto Vakhuis. He's going to be shooting with his beloved Nikon F, and Archie's going to be shooting with his own Nikon F3. We have an array of lenses, a beautiful location, so let's get started.
Hi and welcome. We start this series with the single digit Nikons. We all take a different camera. Today we do like three, like the Nikon F, the F2 and the F3. I start with my camera, which is the Nikon F. My first real Nikon. I used to have a Nikon. I sold that one, and from the money I got from the sale, I could buy this one. And I think it was like 1988 that I bought this camera. It has been decommissioned for I think 17-18 years now, so I had to polish it up a bit and make sure that it works, because it was partly disassembled. But it's in working order now, so I can take pictures with it. The Nikon F, the original first camera from Nikon, was introduced in 1959 as a full system camera. It was the first single lens reflex camera of Nikon, because previously they only made like rangefinders. And the amazing thing about the Nikon F is that really they had it right the first time. There are small things that are not so appreciable about the Nikon F, and they corrected that with the Nikon F2. What is so special about the Nikon F? Well, there are a few highlights, and I come to talk about it in the rest of the video, I think. But it has a 100% viewfinder, which means that what you see in the viewfinder is actually what you get on the negative. And that would be the mainstay of all the Nikon single-digit professional cameras. Every Nikon F, F2, F3, F4, F5, and then the F6, well, is it really a Nikon? I don't think the F6 has a 100% viewfinder. So with the not interchangeable viewfinder, I don't think the F6 is a real professional Nikon F camera. But that's beside it. Everything is exchangeable with every Nikon F. Just with this one I will show you, because it's almost ridiculous. You can detach the mirror or the prism. Of course you can change the lens, and then you can change the back. And if you put it on T, then something funny happens, then you have a hole in your camera, and this is everything. So there are 250 exposure backs for the Nikon F, F2, F3. There are 750 exposure backs for these cameras, which is obviously not for normal picture taking. So yeah.
So it's fully modular.
It's well, in Dutch we call the mirrorless cameras a system camera, right? But this is a truly system camera, because everything is exchangeable. Focusing screens. I think among these cameras, I think there are like 100 different focusing screens. focusing, exchanging focusing screens is often a bit of a drag.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's so simple. With the Nikon F2, the focusing screens are exchangeable between the Nikon F and F2 because they're the same. I sometimes refer to Nikon F as a weapon, not because you can shoot sharp with it, you can, but because it's fully detachable.
Yeah.
The Nikon F2 is a camera.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's your camera. We actually have two F2s. We have one with a rather rare standard prism.
Beautiful camera.
This really makes the camera look like it's designed.
Yeah.
And because I know my quirky cameras, and I'm always the laughing stock of everyone in my friend group is that I like this. Yeah. With the FTN's viewfinder.
With the doghouse.
With the doghouse, I know. But I have to admit, this is prettier. This is actually the improved Nikon F. It came on the market like 10, 12 years later than the original, the Nikon F. And it had some improvement, not very much, but it had some improvements. Gearing of the camera was made better. The Nikon F has a silly thing, and that is the winding lever. Well, it's not. It feels almost that it's not completely attached. It has a wobble on it. Mm-hmm. That's not it's not a defect. It's just how it was designed. But it doesn't feel very professional, does it? With the Nikon F2, they solved that problem because it's rigid.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. With the appearance of the Nikon F2, and then we're speaking about 1971, it was quite common to have an exposure meter in the camera. So the Nikon F, which was designed in 1958 and was put on the market in 1959, exposure meters were not common in cameras, so the Nikon F doesn't have any energy source. With the Nikon F2, there is just a battery at the bottom and the main switch to switch the viewfinder on.
Yeah.
And that would be the thing of Nikon for all their cameras, to shut the metering off and on again. They replaced the exposure button to the front of the camera because with the Nikon F it's slightly on the back and it's just a bit awkward to press the button. They improved that with the F2 and now your finger just falls into place and it's more...
It's more design change.
Yes, the design change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in the 1980s, there is always a bit of an overlap with Nikon. If the Nikon F2 came about, then the Nikon F was still produced for 2 years. And when the F3 came, the F2 was still produced for a few years. The F3...
That's your camera for today.
Yeah, that's it is your camera. Okay, you tell.
Hello, sweetheart.
This camera has seen some battle damage.
Well, will be battle.
Really, yeah. The first camera of Nikon in the professional market with a completely electronic-driven heart. So these two cameras are all mechanical driven, and this one is electronically driven, and it has an automatic exposure mode, and that's nice.
Yep.
Because it has an aperture priority, which means that you are the ruler of the aperture, and that's, I think, the most important thing on a camera, because it decides whether your subject is just as sharp as your background or that it's popping out and the background is out of focus. The bearings on this camera are even better than the F2. The F2 is very good, But the F3, well, if you advance the film to the next exposure, it's just like glass. It's so smooth.
You can't feel it happen.
You know, it's almost like a Leica.
Can I give it a try?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and this camera is well worn.
Yeah.
Because it has some action. You took it to Yugoslavia during the war, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So that's the reason why the name is hidden. Do I go on about the 4 and the 5?
That's for the next video.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
these two cameras are obviously different than those cameras. These are the first of this one is the first autofocus camera, and this is the F5. I think it's the ultimate automatic autofocus camera, and I should not touch it. Because if I touch it, the chances are that you won't get it out of my hands anymore. And I don't think the owner of the camera would like that.
No.
I think he may have his camera back, but I'm afraid he has to take me with him. And he's already married, so no.
So for today, we have 3 cameras.
Yeah.
All manual focus.
All manual focus.
The F, F2 and F3.
F3, yeah.
You're going to be shooting with the F.
Yeah, I am.
What kind of lenses are you going to be using on your
Oh
camera?
my goodness, I carried everything.
Oh, maybe it's a good idea to show also the lenses that you
Show
have.
everything.
Yeah, yeah,
You really?
yeah. So we do that in a moment. But
Okay.
you're going to do the F.
Yeah.
You have the F3.
Yep.
You have a very interesting lens on the F4.
Yes.
135 2.0.
It's lovely.
I'm jealous.
Don't look at the front lens, because if you do, you may fall into it and we'll never find you back again.
And I'm happy to use the F2.
Your own F2.
Which I bought off you.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
It's my first Nikon. So I'm very excited.
Well, yeah, you're late in the game.
Thank you. I'm older.
But you're welcome.
What are your film choices for today?
Well, I thought we used the HP5, of course, but it's very poorly lit,
Yeah.
and I just took a few measurements, and it's hardly possible to use it as a 250. I like to shoot the HP5 at 250. It's not doable, only with the 51.2. So, weapon of choice today.
So we all go for the 3200.
Yeah, the P3200 at 3200 ISO, because it gives you enough latency to shoot whatever you like,
Right. Yeah.
even in dark surroundings like we're here in an industrial environment, with not too much light.
Yeah.
But I think it will. This film will suit the surroundings because of the grain.
And it gives us the possibility to play with the aperture. So
Yeah,
Yeah. You're
better.
right.
field as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Perfect.
we have to
Would be
shoot
nice.
everything wide open, and that's not
Yeah.
the meaning of this.
Are you going to do anything with regards to the comparison with the Leica that you were mentioning?
Yeah, just a moment. I will just
Yeah.
pick it up.
He's leaving the video.
Oh my God! Where did he go?
Is he ever coming back?
Oh, he's here.
This wasn't planned. Totally spontaneous.
He's back.
Yeah.
He's here, everybody. He's coming through the door. I've got the Leica M2 with me with a 21mm lens. A combination that will set you back like 3,500 euros if you have to buy it secondhand. And what
Don't even look at it.
what I'm going to do is, if every exposure I take with my Nikon F, with the 20mm which is in my bag with from Nikon,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a duplicate with this camera.
Okay.
And then after we develop the film, we're going to compare those two
Interesting.
and see whether this one is actually better than an old Nikon F with a 20mm lens on it.
When you say better, what are you talking about? Sharpness, contrast? What are you talking about?
Those things.
Okay. Okay.
Because if this is so expensive, you would suggest that this would be better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't believe it will.
Okay. Interesting.
I've seen it once before with the 35mm 2.0, with the Leica 35 2.0, and I've got a Nikon as well, and those compared exactly the same.
Okay.
And that lens was like 275 euros, and the Leica was 2,795.
Slight difference.
Yeah. So just to prove that you can
Just
take,
covered up.
Yeah.
just to prove or show that you can take
Can I borrow some
high-end
money?
high-end pictures with a modest system.
But
This is not cheap.
This is the first time you're going to be comparing those two lenses.
Yes, those
Okay,
two. I've
okay.
never compared this one, the super
So
angle
that's
one.
going to be interesting. Yeah. Thank you for gathering the whole Nikon series, all of you,
Yeah.
because everybody pitched in.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate it, because this is impossible to do for one person. So this is going to be an interesting video. Shall we have a look at your lens range of lenses that you took with you?
Okay.
Yeah?
Then we'll clear this out, right, and then we'll put it on here. Okay.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay. 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 They wanted me to show you what's in the bag. Well, I start just with the shortest lens I've got. It's the 20mm. This is the lens that's going to compare with the Leica. Then I have a bit overkill, but I have two 24s, the 24 2.8, and I know I don't have a cap, right? But you don't need a cap with a Nikon, right? Because they have this bezel here, so you can put the lens like this. No harm done. So don't put something down in the comments. He's killing his lenses. No, I'm not killing the lens. I'm just putting it here. My bag is very soft, okay? So 24. This is the 24 2.0. And then obviously the 35 2.0. It's going up, right? My old trusted 55mm 1.2, which Hank made a video about. The 85 2.8, no 2.0, I'm sorry. The 105 2.5. The 135 2.8, which I bought from a thrust store, which was full of fungus, and I paid like €3.25 for this lens. I opened it up, cleaned it, and it's perfect. The most hideous lens of Nikon to look at, and one of the prettiest to take pictures with, is the 200 4.0, which is a strange lens because it's very small at the top and very wide at the bottom. So it's a bit of a ridiculous lens, but hey, it takes pictures like no other. And then the last one, the 300, that's a 4.5 actually. So that's my whole range. That's it.
Interesting to use a short telephoto. I had some foreground interest, shallow depth of field, shooting wide open at 2.0 with an 85mm lens. Interesting. Curious to see what kind of result I was able to achieve.
I've seen this model over here, and I wanted to take a picture so that one pops out. So I decided to use the 300 lens, but it's kind of awkward to measure the light because there's all this light over there, look, and I only need the light of the mannequin. So let's see what comes up. I want to use a wider aperture, so it says 125 5.2. Okay, let's go to the camera. The situation is as follows. It's raining terribly hard, so it's a lot of noise. And I've pinpointed the camera right on top of the skull of the mannequin, and now I'm trying to focus because there are all holes in the floor here. So my tripod is slowly edging backwards, and because it's very shaky, I'm going to release the camera with its self-timer so that I don't have to move the camera. Here we go. Yep, that was it.
Well, in this picture, I noticed the glass of well, with a bit of red wine in it, with this piece of solid steel and concrete under it. It's a nice contrast. I needed a bit of depth of field because otherwise you won't notice the lines. So I took it in, well, with aperture 5.6 and with the 60th of a second, which is necessary because of the 135mm lens. Well, I hope it comes out nicely.